Hello, beauties. Have you ever reached a point where you knew it was time to stop talking about your goals and actually become the woman who achieves them? Well, today we're stepping into discipline, confidence, and financial power. Welcome to the Boss Up Faith, Finances, and Finding Peace Money Edition episode of Sweatpants and Secrets. Let's get into it. Sweatpants and Secrets, where women spill it all.
Because at the end of the month, where did those nice meals go to? In the toilet.
Prioritize. The first thing that doesn't make sense to ever pay interest on is a credit card.
This is going to be good. Are you ready? Welcome to Sweatpants and Secrets, where real women spill it all. I'm your host, Dr. Coco, and we have two very, very special guests with us today. We have Ebony Valentine Henderson and Morgan Brooks. Ladies, please tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hello, I am Ebony. I went to the University of Southern California. I have a bachelor's degree in business finance, and then I also have a master's degree in accounting. I did several years in public accounting at PwC, one of the top four public accounting firms. And the latter part of my career, the last 12 years, I've been the assistant controller at UCLA, where I oversee the finances, anything from accounting to accounts payable. And I also have my own tax and travel practice.
And I am Morgan Brooks. I also went to the University of Southern California where Ebony and I met. Fight on. Whoop, whoop. I actually have a bachelor's in psychology, and then I went and got my master's in accounting, where I also met Ebony. I also worked for PwC in public accounting for about the first 8 years of my career in financial services. For the last 8 years or so, I've been the controller at one of the largest or the largest entertainment union in the world. I also run a business for personal finance coaching and consulting called Mindful Money Moves, where I also offer tax preparation services, tax planning, as well as personal finance and budgeting coaching.
See, I told you, honey, very impressive. Two very impressive ladies today. So welcome and thank you so much. So we're going to start our segment today off with sip or spill. So grab your glasses, ladies, if you have them. Okay, sip and spill time, where we either spill the tea or we have to take a sip. Okay? So it's all in fun, but it's so the truth. Okay, ladies? So, question: would you lend money to Bay?
I'll let you
Was it
take that one,
for?
Morgan.
What's it for? I have questions. There are questions. There are follow-up questions. um, if it was for good reason. Like I said, I would probably have a lot of questions for him to make sure my money is going to good use. And also talk about, the timeline of me getting it back and, how much extra is coming back with. But
One
yes,
part.
I would.
It depends who Bay is, okay? Is Bay a boyfriend or my husband? If it's my husband, it's not really lending money because we're investing in us. So, of course, I would invest in the business. For a boyfriend, I don't know. I feel like the commitment may not be there for me, but I would have a lot of questions just like Morgan, and I'll be more inclined to invest in some kind of business venture. Now, if you can't just take care of your regular bills month to month, that's a whole nother issue. So yeah.
So, we need some interest on that money, right?
Right.
Mhm. Need a
All right, ladies,
return,
thank you. And
return.
I think we should sip anyway, just for that, because that was a really good.
Yes.
Okay, now it's time for our confession corner. The confession corner is where ladies across the U.S. have filled in the blank based off of this episode. So I'm going to read what the question was and what their confession was, okay? The question was, the most expensive lesson I've learned was, the first one was, always put money up because you never know when you have to make a decision. The second one is,
Completely agree.
Yes. Faith has no price tag to it, so you have to let go of anything that disturbs it. Do not hold on too long and learn to see and hear the signs that God is making clear to you.
Amen.
I know, right? Absolutely,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely. Never take anything too personal. That can be an expensive lesson because that
Yeah.
can cost you your job. That can cost a lot of things depending on what the
Mm-hmm.
situation is.
Mm-hmm.
Paying off a car. The moment it's paid off, all the problems start. Also, never co-sign for people.
Ooh,
Oh,
woo,
I I would say pay it off. Go ahead and get that debt off of you. The only debt that's really worth carrying is some real estate debt because you can write it off on your taxes and you can borrow against it. But I understand because of that. That's typically if you're taking 7 years to pay it off. That's right when the
the new model drops.
yeah, exactly. The new model drops, the problems start. So I get it, but no, if you have the funds to do it, that's interest bearing loan that you don't need.
Yeah. And don't take the 7 years either.
Yes.
Try to,
And then you see that
stay
new
in that
car and you
three
done
to
paid
4.
all this money for 7 years and now you're trying to go get something
Mm-hmm.
else.
Exactly. Right back in the same cycle, that same car note.
Absolutely. Okay. So the next one is marry the right person the first time because divorce costs more than you can imagine.
Yeah, I've been there. That's me. I'm on my second marriage, so the first time definitely was a costly divorce. I got married young, so I think not knowing roles and finance being a big part of it and not being on the same page played a major role. So I do agree that marrying the right person is the most important decision you're going to ever make in your life.
Awesome. Thank you for that. Okay. The next one is just because it costs more doesn't mean it's worth more. That's a good one.
True. That's
Yes.
true. Even though I
Yes.
love a little designer, it can get you in trouble.
But it's
I
crazy
know.
because I wear these red bottom shoes and my feet be killing me. Then I go get some DSW shoes that I pay $59.99 for, and they are so comfortable. So
I can attest to that. I'm telling you, Steve Madden, I'll wear the red bottoms, feet toe killing me. Then Steve Madden has a dupe. And I'm like, why are these so comfortable? They feel like sneakers.
right, right.
Yep.
So
But we
Yep.
gotta have it sometimes. Beauty
I
is
gotta have the
pain
purse. I gave
sometimes,
up on the shoes. My feet be hurting, so I was like, oh no, y'all can have that.
Yeah.
I know I had my Crocs on. I wore my red bottoms in yesterday and had my Crocs at the desk. I was like, oh, I don't even think this is worth it at this point, right?
Right.
I have to know I have to know plan A, step B, because I have to think it out in my head. Like, are these aren't walking shoes? These are sitting and looking pretty shoes.
I tell my husband the same thing. Are these straight to the restaurant? You dropping me off at the door shoes, or are we
Mm-hmm.
gonna walk? Because
Mm-hmm.
that determines what I'm
Mm-hmm.
putting on my feet.
Exactly.
Yes, yes. The next one is follow your first mind.
Yes, intuition, a woman's intuition for sure.
Is everything, right?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. That
The next,
hesitation will, throw some wrenches in there and have you going through stuff that you don't even have to if you would have just went with your first mind and then hindsight, you like, dang it, I knew. I just knew. You just gotta go with that feeling.
yep. But you just knew you should have went with your. We say it. How often do you say,
Oh.
"Man, I knew I should have just went with my first
Mm-hmm.
mind"?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, yes. Next, after I spend money, when I said I will save.
Well, I don't know. I'm a saver. I believe in saving
I'm a
first, and
saving too.
then
Yeah. Whatever
then
left
because
over.
I don't want to feel bad about spending the money. So I save first, and then I'll be like, okay, well, shoot, technically this is for me. I got to treat myself.
I'm right there with Morgan. Saving is a bill. So when I get paid, I put X amount up just as if it was that was what I was putting up for a bill, and that's off. That's off the top. That's first, and then pay your bills, and then whatever is left over for spending money is spending money. So that way, hey, I've already met my financial goal of saving X amount that I wanted to save.
Yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
learned that in the military. It said pay yourself first. So I literally
Right.
have an
Yep.
allotment that goes straight to another account. That way I
Yes.
don't even see it. I'm not missing it. It's over there. And now, like you said, I don't feel bad about splurging because I already
Mm-hmm.
put up some money. We're good. You know?
Sound like she already
Mm-hmm.
took your financial coaching, Morgan.
I was just about to say that. I was about to say that's the first lesson that I teach my coachees. It's like, we got to pay. Literally on my budget template, it says pay yourself first. That's the first line item of the budget because I don't care how small it is. You got to put something away, something to the side because things happen. And it's like, people are out here living life, and we just talked about the designer and all that, right? And so when that's your first mind and you got all the designer, when something falls apart or something happens in life, you can't do nothing with that designer. You know what I mean? Like, if you want to try to resell, maybe you'll get a little bit of your money back, but we shouldn't even have to do that because we should already be taking care of those responsibilities on the front end. So, absolutely, you were right. And I definitely tell them to split that direct deposit. I'm like, this is 2025. You know what I mean? Like, you can literally go to your payroll department and tell them, look, send this amount of money to this other savings account. I don't ever even want to see it, and have the
Yes.
rest of it go into your checking account. So you right right on track.
Thank you. Thank you. That means I'm doing something right. I love it, right? Okay. Our next one is timeshare is financial slavery.
Oh, I
I'm a
mean,
travel agent and I'm not a fan of timeshares just because you're paying for something that is limited. And when I say limited, it's limited in destination. Sometimes it's limited in availability for when you want it. But it depends on your type of travel. So if you're the
mhm.
type of person that likes to go to certain destinations and have a certain accommodations, that might work for you. It really depends on the person. But for me, I like to have flexibility. So a timeshare is not allowing the flexibility that I would want.
I had a terrible experience with like one of those like timeshare travel type programs. It was when I was young. They like talked us into, oh, if you do this though, it'll make sure you take your vacation time and your vacations and all that. And we got locked into that. I think I probably wasted about close to $15,000 on that. And then when it was time for us to actually go somewhere, they was like, oh, well, these are the only places that's available. And we got there and was like, this is it? I was like, oh, we got catfish, we got duped. So yeah, no, I won't do it again. I'll just go through Ebony to book me a beautiful travel. Okay.
I'll second that. Thank you.
I'm here for all your
Yes.
travel needs.
Yes. Okay. Our next one is protect your finances, save, invest, and credit.
Absolutely. Sounds like all the things we hit on in my personal one-on-one sessions for sure. Yes, absolutely. Saving,
Somebody's on the right
investing,
track.
and credit. Mm-hmm.
Somebody's on the right track. So that's really good. That's really good. Okay. Our next one is looking outside yourself for happiness and fulfillment. That can be an expensive lesson.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So one thing that my grandmother, who was married 65 years, told me that says anyone that you add to, whether it be a friend, a spouse, they should only be adding to your happiness, which means you should already be happy and content who you are before you add anyone to the equation. So anyone that's not adding to that, they're subtracting from it, which means they shouldn't be allowed in your circle. And my granny had the most wisdom, and I take that to this day. Like, only include people that are adding to your happiness in your circle.
I love that. Absolutely.
Not that great.
Absolutely. All right. Let's see. Our next one is fill your own cup. Do things that enrich your life so that you are able to give your absolute best to others. This includes getting your relationship right with God, health in order, educating yourself, and resting.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I think that evolves and changes over time at whatever stage you're in life you are. Now I'm about to hit 40. I love me some rest, some stay at home days. So yeah. And then guess what? That means I'm not spending any money. So it's just a win-win. So definitely.
Yes, yeah. I mean, it kind of goes with the saying, like, you can't pour from an empty cup. So, and it ties
Yes.
back into what Ebony just said, the lesson from her grandma about, making sure people are adding and not taking away. You definitely need to be pouring into yourself, you know what I mean? Because If you're not fulfilled, that more than that for sure comes off in different ways, in different aspects of your life, whether that be like your interactions with your family, your kids, your spouse, so yeah, it's always important to be, content with yourself and doing things that make you happy, make you grow, make you become a better person so that you can be better for those around you, for sure.
I love that. I love that. Thank you, ladies. Okay, now it's time to talk about what's popping and what needs to stop. Okay, it's time for trend or trash. So I'm going to ask you a question and you tell me if it's trending or it needs to go into the trash bin. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
So money manifestation.
Mm, on the surface, I'm gonna say trash it. I'm gonna say trash it.
Trash. I say
I'm
trash.
gonna say trash it. Only because like Instagram and social media has this thing of like if you say it, 10 times it'll come true. And it's like, no, you can't just say it. So I don't disagree with speaking positively about your, money manifestation, but there also needs to be some action and some planning behind that. You know what I mean? So it has to go together. So just money manifestation alone, I say trash it. But if you're willing to put in the work and the action to actually make those things come true, then I'm for that.
I concur. You said it perfectly.
I'll take that as well. Yes. All right. Our wine note of the week is cheers to the women who get back up even when life gets hard. Your resilience and your superpower and your breakthrough is already in motion. And now it is time for the interview questions. Are you ladies ready to get down to it?
Yes, we ready.
All right. All right. What's the number one money habit women should build now?
I say everyone needs to set financial goals. And that's because a lot of times people wait till they're in their 30s, 40s to say, okay, this is what I want to have established or have by the time I'm 50 or 60. You've already wasted 10, 15 years of your adult life. And when I say financial goals, that means your retirement planning, your savings, and what are your goals for your lifestyle? Do you want to own multiple investment properties? Do you want to own a house? Everyone doesn't want to own a house because, that's not maybe on their financial goal list. But I say setting those financial goals early and having a plan to get to each goal is going to be critical to your goal, your success in being financially well off or, just feeling financial freedom.
Hmm. I'm gonna say, okay, it's a tie between two. The first one is pretty quick and easy. So the number one is clarity, right? I have a lot of clients or a lot of just people in general, even people that aren't my clients yet, that just have no clue where their money is going. They're like, I make good money. I don't know where it's at. The paper says that I make X amount of dollars. I have nothing to show for it. And I say to that, a lot of people don't have clarity. They're guessing at what they're spending their money on. And I just need you to stop being afraid and actually take a look and really understand. Like, I want you to be able to break it down month by month. Okay, this is what I pay for my living expenses. This is what I'm paying in gas, groceries, childcare. You know what I'm saying? You have to have that clarity so that you understand where your dollars are going. So then you can then make the adjustments when it's needed, right? Because if you once you gain that clarity and you like, whoa, whoa, whoa. I'm spending in the, four figures eating out at restaurants every month. Like, where can we redirect that money so that it actually makes sense for me and I'm not literally just, I don't want to, use too much language on here, but who pointed away? You know what I mean? Like, because at the end of the month, where did those nice meals go to? In the toilet. You know what I mean? So it's like, and a lot of people just don't realize that until they take the time to get the clarity and really understand where their money is going. The second, and I won't go into too much, is just investing. Please, please. Everyone's afraid and avoids it. But like, even myself, and I'm in the financial services industry and have been, I didn't start really taking investing serious until after I left Big Four public accounting. And I really sometimes think about that and I regret it because I'm like, that was basically 8 years that I didn't have my money in the market, that my money that could have been working for me and really gaining like exponential growth. Because I see what it's done, in my portfolio since I have started investing. And I'm like, now just imagine if I would have had double the time, And that's the only thing that we can't ever get back is time. We all know how to go out and make some more money, right? But we can't get that time back to where that dollar is working for us. And now guess what? I get to retire even earlier, stuff like that. So definitely gaining clarity and investing.
Wonderful, wonderful, ladies. Okay. How can women balance saving and enjoying life without feeling guilty for either?
Ebony's the save saver. The save saver. I believe that would be
I'm definitely a saver. I mean, I save, I would say more than 50% of my check, more than that. But that's because I'm in a financial position to do so. But I would say, hey, it goes back to financial goal. My financial goal was to have financial freedom by a certain age, and financial freedom meant for me uh, being debt free. So we've been taught to buy houses, not own our houses. And I remember looking at my mortgage statement maybe 3 or 4 years after I bought my house, and the principal was almost identical of what I bought it for. And because most of your money, the first 30 year have a 30-year loan, the first 15 years, most of it's going toward interest. So I said, wait a minute, I can't have this happen. So for me, I thought about, hey, I want to have a nice savings. I was always taught that you should have at least a year's worth of salary saved. And then after I have that, it doesn't make sense if I have all this debt to keep on saving. So now what I'm going to try to do is pay off my debt. And paying off debt for me meant if I have credit cards, it meant if I have a car note. And then the last thing I did was pay off my house. And it wasn't even that much more. When you tell people you pay off your house, you're like, how did you do that? I said, first, I made it a 15-year loan. And then I started paying every 2 weeks. And then when I got a bonus, I put it toward that. And then next thing I knew, I was seeing the principal actually come down because I'm making more payments more frequently. So less interest is being drawn on that. So I would say, hey, but it all depends what your financial goal is. My financial goal was to have financial freedom. I could save. And now I'm at the point where I don't feel guilty. I'm gonna travel. I'm gonna go spend. I'm gonna drop thousands of dollars on travel and not think twice about it because hey, I've 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 earned it. Is how I look at it. So you have to know what your goal is, and if you want to have a lot of money saved, if you want to have a lot of freedom to do things, it depends. All goes back to where I said, what are your financial goals, and if they have to align because what my goal may not be your goal. So you got to align with your goals and then go from there on how, okay, how can I save and how can I still spend and enjoy life? Balance it for what works for you.
I love it.
absolutely agree.
I absolutely love it. Okay, what are a few soft line expenses that are totally worth
Hmm.
it?
you know you if you look good you feel good, there's just there's certain things that I like to that I spend my money on, but I know that, so guess what, it's a line item in my budget. Yes, I definitely have to keep, I mean, we're Black women, we got to keep our hair done because otherwise I'll be walking around looking crazy. But yes, so totally worth it, totally worth it. And like I said, when you look good, you feel good, you treat others good, you're well received. And you just, have that, it just boosts my confidence a little bit, when I get my hair done. I'm like, oh, okay, girl, you got it. You
You
Says she
cute.
you
cute.
still got it. You still got it. Okay, okay.
You're absolutely right about that. I put everything in my budget, my hair, my nails, anything that is
Hmm.
coming out of that check is going into the budget. So,
Hmm.
absolutely. What are some money mistakes you often see women making?
I'll let you have one, Morgan.
I'm gonna go back to not investing. A lot of us are very like hesitant, and not even like a lot of us, like I'm talking about, Black people in general. We've had a lot of, and not to say that, there's no reason for it, right? Because
Mhm.
you know with the history of this country, I completely understand why, you might not be as trustworthy in, a bunch of lines and numbers and stuff, on the stock exchange, so I get it. But so I would say black people in general, but even more so women, because they think about like, oh, I'm not a numbers person, like I don't understand any of that. And it's like, fortunately, and like I said, we're in 2025. Fortunately, there are so many ways for you to get into the market to where, you don't have to be a stock trader. You don't have to know how to pick the exact stocks, that are going to blow up, right? There are so many like funds and ETFs that track the overall market, right? Where you don't have to be an expert in this. You can literally just set up your brokerage account and you can say weekly, I want to invest, I don't know, start out with $100, $20, whatever it is, right? And you can say, I want to put this into a total market ETF, which is something that's going to track the market. They have ones that are global, they have ones that are, specific to certain indexes. But they make it so much easier now for us to invest. So I really want us to really get in on the game, because like I said, in the years that I've been invested and really taking it serious, I just see the returns and I'm like, now this is how they do it. They meaning not
Not
us, you know what I
not
mean?
us. Yes.
Exactly. This is how they do it. They literally live off of dividends from their stocks, right? They literally grow their portfolios and are investing. And then guess what? When it's time to buy something, they don't have to sell their stocks to go take cash and buy something. They borrow directly against their stocks because they have portfolios in place already. And guess what? When you borrow, it's considered a loan and you're not paying income taxes, right? You're not being penalized for any of that. So it's like we have to take certain things from them. It's just part of the game. You know what I mean? So I really want us to be more exposed to that and just start out little. Like I said, you can't get time back. And like that's the biggest thing in being in the market is time, you know, ride the wave.
I love it. Spilling all the tea, honey. I love it. Right? How can someone rebuild their finances after a setback like divorce, job loss, or bad spending habits?
I'll take that one. So I think I mentioned earlier, I went through a divorce, and I was 30 when I went through my divorce, and at that time I had credit card debt. I had two car notes, and I had the house note. So I was thinking, okay, how I'm going to do this? Mind you, I had the money, but once again, the budgeting and the discipline of being able to say, okay, this is what I'm gonna have to do differently. So then I start eating away at my debt and say, okay, let me prioritize. The first thing that doesn't make sense to ever pay interest on is a credit card. You should use a credit card. Don't get me wrong. You want to
Hmm.
use the credit card for points and sorry, you want to use credit card to get points. I put everything on a credit card. When I say everything, if it's $2, I put it on a credit card, but I also have the discipline that every Friday I pay my credit card off in full, but I want to get the points or the miles on my credit card. So never pay interest on a credit card. So I pay the credit cards off. Next thing to pay off is a car note, because the car note is a low interest, but that's not something you can borrow against. That's not something that you can write off on your taxes. So pay the car notes off first. The very last absolute thing you should pay off is your house, if you can. Once again, I mentioned that, hey, we've been taught to buy houses, not own our houses. And if you ever do the calculation for a 30-year loan, if you buy a $500,000 house, but if you take the whole 30 years to pay for it, you're going to end up paying $1 million. You're going to pay for it twice. And that's not something we're taught. So when I looked at it and I said, hey, this doesn't make any sense that I'm going to pay all this interest and over the course of 30 years when I could really afford to pay a little bit more. So what did I do? I said, hey, this divorce is not going to be the end of me. I'm gonna have financial freedom. My goal was before I hit 40 to be financial free. And God willing, God blessed me by 35. I was blessed to be completely debt free. And that ain't nothing but God. I gotta give it to him, because I was at my lowest point, and God took me from my lowest point to my highest point. So I can't give nothing but praises to him, putting me in that financial space to do that. But going back to say, hey, a setback is just a setup for something more. So guess what? You might have felt like I got set back because of this job. I got set back of this divorce. there's experiences and lessons learned, and it's going to make you grow and be that much stronger when you come back at the end. So it's not a setback. It's going to just, it might a temporary setback. Let's say that it's going to be a temporary setback, but it's not going to define your whole life and who you are as a person. So don't let society let you think that, or you definitely don't think that, because anyone thinking, hey, how am I going to do this on my own? I'm divorced. There's embarrassment that comes with it. There's resentment. There's all this stuff that comes through your head. But you just got to come up with a plan, and it goes back to setting goals. I have a goal. I have a son. I need to make sure that he's financially set too if something happens to him. So it definitely is not something that is a forever thing. So that would be my advice to a person that says, hey, I'm getting set back by something temporary.
Absolutely.
Amen. Amen. Okay, ladies, it is time for the lightning round. I'm going to read off a question and you tell me what you select, okay?
Okay.
So, save or splurge?
Save.
Save.
You can't have both. Okay.
I was gonna say the Gemini in me is definitely going to do both, but first save.
Save. Save, ladies, save. Luxury bag or luxury investment?
I think
Can
Morgan
I say
just.
both?
So this is the thing. This is a statistic that I just saw recently. 75% of luxury purchases are made by the lower or middle class. That being said, that higher class, they are not buying luxury purchases.
Mm-hmm.
Not saying that we shouldn't, but I'm just throwing that out there. But
Yeah.
you know,
It's well. See, the difference is like the wealthy, right? That's such a small percentage of what they make or what they have that it doesn't feel like that to them. Whereas, you know, on the other side, the middle class, the lower the middle class is really working hard. You working overtime, saving up to get these luxury goods. There's a big difference in that. So and I started to notice the same thing. It was not this past Christmas, so it would almost 2 years ago now. I said, you know what? I really been wanting this Louis bag, right? And I was like, I'm not gonna get it. I'm gonna go and buy the Louis stock. So instead of the bag, what I would have spent on the bag, I went and got the stock. And the stock shot up 20-30%. I said, okay, I made the right decision. So there's my answer right there. I'm going with the luxury investment. But I might trim a little off the top once it does what it needs to do to
we already
get
know
the
you are.
bag.
Go ahead
To
and
get
get
the
the bag,
bag.
just a
And then
little one.
I see. I think my answer has evolved or changed, because I definitely would have said the luxury bag. But at some point, okay, I got over 10 luxury purses. I can only wear one at a time. So at some point, it seems okay. This is just overspending. So, but I go back to a luxury purchase, and outside of a car or a house, if you don't have the money for it and you got to finance it, it's a no. You shouldn't be
Right.
buying it.
Right.
Definitely should not be investing in financing a bag. Absolutely.
Right.
Exactly. There you go.
Separate accounts or shared accounts?
Both.
I was gonna say both
Both. I go
So
for both.
have a joint account for the bills if you guys want to save for vacations or everything, but also have separate accounts, because I don't want my husband
again.
asking what did I spend $200 on every time I spend it, and I don't want to see every little purchase he does fixing up his car and buying his tools or whatever the case may be. So I think both
Mhm.
accounts, it works for us.
Absolutely. It's so funny because I just made some content a couple weeks ago, and I said the ways to stay out of divorce court. And one of the things was having you a joint account, but also having a separate account, because what's over here in this separate account is really none of your business at that point. And it doesn't need to cause any additional friction or arguments. We don't need to talk about it. As long as what's coming together is taking care of our responsibilities, we both we still have freedom. I don't want it to be like, oh, what you doing? What you doing? At every second. So I say that's the number one way is to have both.
And I agree. We have separate and we have both, but my main issue is the Amazon guy. We got to talk. I got to leave a note on the front or something saying, put the packages in the bushes, because I
Right.
get home before he does and there's no packages. Why is it the minute this man walks in the door, he coming up with 6 packages? I'm like, who's
Ding, ding,
those?
ding. Uh-huh.
We got the ring alert. Ring goes off and notifies my phone, his phone. I'm just like, wait a minute, this is doing too
Yes.
much.
Snitching. I'm gonna leave a
Yes.
little note that says, please put the packages in the bushes and I'll get them.
Right.
Because you telling my
Definitely.
business is what you're doing. You snitching on
Right.
me is what you're doing here. Okay.
Right.
Yes, and girl, I done messed up, and my dad set up this Amazon Cube, like, and it has Alexa on it. So now it tells me before it says your package is 10 stops away, and gets a ring in the TV and all kind of stuff. And I'm like, what is happening? Down.
Hey, all that. Okay. All right. Last one is financial coach or Google University.
Financial coach. Morgan is the financial coach that you need. A financial coach is going to tailor it to your specific needs. Google University is not going to do that.
Exactly. One of the first things that I talk about with my clients is finance is personal, right? So that means it's going to look very different for everybody because no two people's situation is alike. One might have kids, one might have no kids, one might have a few kids. One might have a partner that can share in the responsibility in terms of, finances and time. Um, Everybody's like makeup is so different, right? Ebony and I both went to the same university. Ebony is debt free. I am very much not. Okay, I'm still paying for that education. So, everybody, and you just never know, what's going on. In the background of people's lives. So you should never compare your situation to anybody else's. So really like blanketed suggestions and things that you're going to learn from YouTube University or Googling things. It's really not going to be specific to you and your situation. So you really got to talk to somebody that's seen some things, right? And can kind of guide you based on your personal situation. Because, like I said, depending on where you are in life, if you're younger, if you're older, closer to retirement age, we got to treat things so much different because the timing, is so much different. If you're younger, you have a bunch of time to go and make a bunch of more money, you go out on a limb, take risk and all that. But if you're close to retirement age, baby, we want to retire. So it's like you can't be taking those same type of risks, right? So you got to treat yours a little bit different than the next person. So for sure, a coach that and preferably somebody that understands what we got going on and is not going to tell you, oh, just go ask. I personally, from my own personal experience, I went and met with a financial advisor, and he just kept telling me, oh, just ask your parents for the down payment. It's like my parents is asking me for a down payment. What you talking about? You know what I mean? Like, they asking me for help. I can't just go ask them for a down payment. You know what I mean? Or so yeah, definitely get somebody that understands your situation and will not judge you for it as well.
Wonderful,
Someone that can
ladies.
relate, because obviously he can relate.
Yeah. Oh,
Obviously not.
wait. And we already talked about how I got to keep my hair done, right?
He's probably like,
Kept,
I used for that much money.
kept asking me why I'm spending that much money and going so often. He like, my wife only goes, every few months. And I'm like, well, your wife don't look like me. We have to go
Your wife
every,
is
and
different.
this was, right. And this is, back in my press and curl days. So, you got to go every 2 weeks. And it's like, yeah, I need my press and curl every 2 weeks. Yeah, your wife don't have to get her hair pressed, stuff like that. Your wife is going in for a trim and maybe, spruce up
Her
her
roots. Her
highlights or
roots.
something. Yeah, her roots. There you go.
And sometimes you get what you pay for. So look, I can't
Yes.
just be going to anybody. I'm sorry.
There you go.
Right.
There you go.
Ladies, thank you so much. Do you have any closing remarks? And please share with us your social media or your information so everybody can follow you.
Thank you for having us, Dr. Coco. It's been a blessing. Financial advice, I think we've hit on it, but definitely if you're paying off credit or interest bearing loans, the order to do so, last thing is your house. Have financial goals, set them, save, save, save. because you never know what tomorrow brings you. And that would be my financial advice to anyone. And do what makes you happy at the end of the day. I am Ebony Valentine Henderson. I, once again, have my own travel and tax practice called Ebony the CPA. You can find me on Instagram at Ebony underscore the THE underscore CPA. That's my tag, and hope to see everyone soon.
Yes, and let's see. My ending note is going to be get that clarity, understand what's happening in your finances, stop avoiding it. To be honest, it's one of the most like empowering experiences that you're gonna go through. A lot of my clients are very hesitant, but after we sit down and do it that one time, all you gotta do is one good time. Right. So you understand where everything is at and what adjustments you need to make. Fortunately, like I said, we are in 2025. There are apps that will help analyze your spending and track it for you just to make sure you're staying within your limits that you have set for yourself. But definitely get that clarity so that you can start directing your dollars to your dreams and your goals, like Ebony was saying. Um, and where to find me? Oh, you can find me on Instagram and Facebook sometimes. Uh, but it's at Mindful Money Moves. Mindful Money Moves. So I hope to see you there.
All right. Thank you for joining me for another episode of Sweatpants and Secrets. Remember, every small financial step that you take is a seed for future you're building. Stay intentional, stay encouraged, and keep leveling up. Until next time, keep growing and keep glowing. Thank you.